The Galactic Council had always considered humans to be fragile, delicate, breakable. Emma. Harrison stepped into the training chamber aboard the Celestial Horizon, her human frame appearing small against the vast metallic walls. The alien crew had watched her for weeks now, their multifaceted eyes following her every movement with a mixture of curiosity and concern. She was the first human to serve on a Krellian warship, and the crew treated her like glass. "Careful, human Emma," chirped Zixter, the ship's six-legged engineer. "The gravity stabilizers can be dangerous if mishandled." Emma smiled politely. "I'll be fine, Zix, thank you." What the crew didn't know was that Emma had been sneaking into the training chamber every night for the past 3 weeks. While they slept in their low-gravity pods, she was pushing her body to limits they couldn't imagine. Tonight was different though. Tonight, she had company. Edward Chen floated through the chamber door, his magnetic boots clicking against the floor. He was the second human to join the crew, arriving just days ago, and his reputation preceded him. Former Earth military, specialized in extreme environment training, Edward had the kind of resume that made even the battle-hardened Krellians nervous. "You must be Emma," he said, extending his hand. His grip was firm, confident. "I've heard the crew talking about you. The fragile human who keeps to herself." Emma laughed. "That's me. And you're Edward, the human who supposedly survived a plasma storm on Kepler-4 for to be guilty." He glanced around the empty chamber. "So, what brings you here at 0300 hours? Emma's expression shifted from friendly to conspiratorial. "I could ask you the same thing." Edward raised an eyebrow. "Fair enough. How about we train together? I promise not to break you." "We'll see who breaks first," Emma replied. Walking toward the gravity control panel, Edward watched as her fingers danced across the holographic interface. The chamber hummed to life, and he felt the familiar pull of increased gravity pressing down on his shoulders. 1G, 2G, 3G. "That's standard Krellian training gravity," Edward noted. "They think we can't handle more than 1. 5G. Emma glanced back at him, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "I know." She kept pressing buttons. 4G? 5G. The weight crashed down on them like an invisible ocean. Edward's knees buckled slightly before he compensated, spreading his stance. His muscles screamed in protest. Emma, meanwhile, dropped into a perfect squat position, her breathing controlled and steady. "You've done this before," Edward grunted. "Every night for 3 weeks," Emma replied, beginning a series of lunges that should have been impossible under 5 times Earth's gravity. "The crew thinks I'm sleeping. They have no idea." Edward felt a surge of respect, mixed with disbelief. He'd trained in high-gravity environments during his military service, but never casually, never for fun. He watched as Emma transitioned into push-ups, her form flawless despite the crushing weight. "Why?" he asked, joining her on the ground and forcing his own body through the motions. "Because they don't take us seriously," Emma said between breaths. "To them, we're the galaxy's charity case. The species that barely survived first contact. The ones who need protection." Edward understood. He'd felt it too: the condescending pats on the back, the simplified tasks, the constant warnings about danger. The Krellians meant well, but their pity was suffocating. "So you're training in 5x gravity to prove a point?" Edward asked. "I'm training in 5x gravity because I refuse to be weak," Emma corrected. "Because humans didn't become an interstellar species by being fragile. We clawed our way off a death world, survived ice ages and plagues and wars. We're not made of glassware, made of iron and stubbornness." She stood up, her legs trembling but strong, and walked to the sparring area. Edward followed, feeling every ounce of extra weight with each step. For the next hour, they trained together. Emma demonstrated techniques she'd developed, ways to move efficiently under crushing gravity. Edward shared combat strategies from his military days. They pushed each other, neither willing to quit first. When they finally collapsed against the wall, both drenched in sweat and breathing hard, Edward felt something he hadn't felt since leaving Earth: kinship. "The crew is going to find out eventually," he said. Emma nodded. "I know, let them." 2 weeks later, the celestial horizon responded to a distress signal from a mining colony on a high-gravity planet 6 to G, to be precise. The Krellian crew struggled to move in their reinforced exosuits, their powerful bodies overwhelmed by the crushing weight. Captain Verthax looked desperately at his crew. "We need to reach the central reactor to prevent a meltdown. But, at this gravity, we'll go," Emma said, stepping forward. Edward was beside her in an instant. "We can handle it." The captain's mandibles clicked in distress. "No, you are humans. This gravity will crush your fragile bones." Emma and Edward exchanged glances. Without a word, they removed their exosuits. The entire bridge fell silent in the unaugmented gravity. Emma and Edward moved with surprising ease. They'd trained for this, prepared their bodies for exactly this scenario. While the Krellians watched in shock, the two humans sprinted toward the reactor complex. They reached it in under 8 minutes, navigated the failing systems, and manually rerouted the power cores. The meltdown was averted. When they returned to the ship, the crew stared at them with new eyes. Not with pity. Not with concern, with respect. Captain Verthax approached them slowly. "Humans are adaptation specialists," Emma explained, finally removing the mask she'd worn for weeks. "We don't have your natural armor or strength, Captain, but we have something else we can make ourselves stronger." Edward added, "You called us fragile. But fragility is temporary. We train, we adapt. We overcome." From that day forward, the story spread throughout the Galactic Council. The tale of two humans who trained in 5x gravity for fun, who walked unassisted on a 6G planet, who proved that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their diplomacy. It was their refusal to stay weak. They were humans. And humans don't break, they evolve.